But first, we're going to start off talking about back to school backpacks and things that you want to be aware of when you're thinking about preparing your child in the morning, breakfast, getting them to bed earlier at night so they get a good night's rest. Right, Patrick?
Yes, Mom.
Okay. So what are some of the things that you want to think about with loading up that backpack?
Don't do it so too heavy so you can't carry it, and don't do it on one shoulder. Put it on two shoulders and make it snug.
Absolutely correct, because how you balance the load is very important. And what our recommendation is that no one should really carry a backpack that's more than 5 to 10% of their own body weight. So you want to think about that. You don't have to be too precise about it, but think about the size of the backpack. Make sure that it's not taking up more than the whole child's back. It should fit snugly on their back. It should go over both shoulders, as Patrick said, because that way the load is balanced. Is that right, correct, Patrick?
Yes.
And that way, it's okay, because a load on the back like that that's balanced and put on correctly can actually help to build good muscles. But if it's out of balance and overloaded and not fitted correctly, it can cause problems.
Going by some of the bus stops, I notice you see these little peanuts, especially the little girls. These little kids are just these skinny little kids, and the backpacks are huge.
Right, and they're carrying, their equipment, their books, their lunches. So, you want to really be cautious of that. And so think about that when you're getting your child ready for school in the morning, and when they're helping you hopefully get themselves a good morning breakfast. And what are some of the things you want to talk about too, Patrick, about having a healthy breakfast? That's important, right?
Yes.
That gives you the energy for the day, correct?
Yes, Mom.
You start your day with a breakfast. That means that you're breaking your fast from not eating all night, right? Going to bed, and your body's doing all the things it needs to do to get you better and stronger and healthier, rebuilding and making you grow. So when you get up in the morning, even though sometimes you're not always hungry, but I always make you have a good breakfast, right?
Yes, Mom.
It's very, very important. So you have to get up early enough to give yourself time to do some things for yourself, prepare yourself, have a good breakfast, dress, get your backpack ready, and then out the door. Right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, Dr. Joe, the question of the week. Are you ready? Okay. So, the question of the week. Again, all right, be prepared. 563-1340 is the number you can call us. And the question of the week, because we're talking about spinal mechanics and keeping a healthy armor of your spine and the structure of the spine and the nervous system, the question of the week is, what is it called when you have an abnormal curvature to the spine? Is it A, hunchback? Is it B, kyphosis? Or is it C, scoliosis? So the person who calls with the correct answer will be awarded a gift certificate to our office for either themselves or somebody they want to share it with, either a new patient or a current patient. It doesn't matter. If you get the right answer, you get a $50 gift certificate to our office for chiropractic care so you can be healthier. So again, what is it called when you have an abnormal curvature of the spine? Is it called A, hunchback, B, kyphosis, or C, scoliosis? So the first person to call with the correct answer will receive a gift certificate for $50 for chiropractic care to be a healthier you, okay?
Phone lines are open, 563-1340. We have so many phone calls right now. This is great.
Okay.
Hi, you're live with the doctors.
Hi, is it kyphosis?
That was a good shot, but no.
No, that was letter
That was
B.
good, though.
Thank you.
Hi, you're live on the air with the doctors. Do you have an answer for our question?
Is it scoliosis?
That's correct, right?
You are the winner. Your name, please?
Lori?
Hi, Lori. Good job. That was great. Please stop by our office or call our office, ask for Julie, and we'll mail you the certificate, or stop by and pick it up. Congratulations. That was a good job.
Thanks.
Thanks for calling, Lori. Appreciate it. Have a great day. All
What
right.
a kyphosis is when someone's hunched forward. It's an increased abnormal curve to the thoracic spine. See, basically, looking at your body front to back, when you look at someone from front to back, the spine should be straight. Now, from the side, we should have 3 normal curves. You should have a forward curve in the cervical spine, A backwards curve in the thoracic spine that should go backwards, that's a normal kyphotic curve. When it's excess, it's called kyphosis.
Right, and then again in the lumbar spine, we have another lordotic curve. So you have three normal curves looking at somebody's posture from the side. So if you look in the mirror, you'll see there's a forward curve in the neck, like Dr. Joe said, and in the mid back it goes backwards, or the spine goes out, and then in the lower back it comes forward again, and that's called your sigmoid normal curve. But if you look at somebody from front to back, okay, you look at yourself in the mirror and you see one high shoulder, or one ear's higher than the other, or one hip's higher than the other, or if your leg's kind of rolling in and your feet aren't level, that's an indication that there's a good possibility that there could be a scoliosis in the spine, which is an abnormal curvature of the spine.
It's a lateral curvature. It deviates either right or to the left, and usually there's two.
Right. There's this curvature in the upper spine, and then usually towards the other part of the spine it reverses, and there's a curve in the lower spine. So it forms an S, but in the wrong way when you're looking at your spine from front to back. And many times people think it's idiopathic. Now, what does idiopathic mean? Idiopathic means without cause, but that's generally not the case. Usually, what happens is that there's interference to your nervous system, and when there's interference to the nervous system, the body will adapt and react to that and cause a curvature to occur in the structure to try to alleviate some of the stresses to the nervous system. So again, here's our spine trying to adapt and react and be our armor to protect us, but it's not a healthy situation to have a curvature in your spine, because obviously your body was not designed to have that, and so the bones begin to abnormally wear, and that causes early signs of degeneration, but more importantly, nerve irritation and interference. Nerve impingement causes unnecessary stress to the function of your body. So if there's curvatures going on in your spine, particularly at a young age for children, it's something that really should be taken a look at right as soon as possible. So spinal screening, we highly recommend that for children, even as early as right after birth, because that way we can try to work with the body preventatively, helping to adapt and react correctly so we don't have that structural stress throughout growth.
With the hundreds of cases that we've seen through the years of scoliosis, we have not yet, Dr. Carolyn and I have not yet to find one that didn't have a severe subluxation of the second vertebrae in the neck. Out of every one that we've checked, every x-ray that we've analyzed, the second vertebrae in the neck, that vertebrae is severely misaligned, therefore putting abnormal pressure on the brainstem, and the body will adapt and react to that stress. Chiropractic works so well for reducing curves in children, and what's really great, if your child comes in and gets under care early, before the scoliosis even starts to come, you can prevent a lifelong time of, poor health.
Right, because that, again, it's not only a structural stress that the body has to adapt and react to that causes, problems with, just doing normal daily activities, running and sitting in the chair at school or riding in the car. It becomes very uncomfortable when the spine has to adapt and react abnormally like that. So it causes distraction not only to the person itself, but to the nervous system. So they're overriding themselves constantly.
I had a scoliosis, and I was unaware of it my whole life, but I'd remember I'd go out and shovel the driveway for my dad and every time I did any shoveling, I would get severe back pain. And as a young adult or a young kid, I used to think, well, maybe I had weak back muscles or something else. So finally, when I did get injured and I went to the chiropractor, and this was probably the age of 21, he put my x-rays up, and I almost did not believe they were mine. That's how bad my curvature was. I would look at that and say, how could I lift, over 650 pounds with a curvature like that? And that's when I started my back problems. And all this time, I had a very poor immune system. I was sick all the time. I would be to the my regular GP doctor probably 4 or 5 times a year. I'd be on penicillin, antibiotics. Anytime that I got tired, worked too much, got stressed, my body would get run down and I would get sick. Usually Christmas, and as I remember, my birthday, I was always sick. Bronchitis, strep throat, my whole life. And then when I got under chiropractic care at the age of 21, I started getting adjusted. Immediately, of course, it helped my back pain, But what I really noticed was for the first year, it's the first year of my life I wasn't sick. And thank God to this day, that was 30 years ago, I have not needed antibiotics, any drugs or anything since. I thank God. I work hard, I play hard, and I've been really healthy since I got my body and my immune system and my body and nervous system working well. But when I first looked at the X-ray years ago, my spine was curved, and again, it was missed all the way up until I was 21 years old, and I went to my chiropractor. And he took the X-rays. That's why it's so important, we feel, and we do this with all new patients, you need a set of X-rays. And we take films on our children every 3 years so we can monitor any early signs of scoliosis. And this way, instead of waiting for the disease or waiting for the problem, we could be proactive. I prefer not to have it than to deal with having something. As we talk about with all health care, it's better not to have it than try to get well.
It's better to try to continuously stay healthy as to try to continually get healthy. But again, when we're talking about the stress to the structure, it all begins with stress to the nervous system. You have to remember, folks, your nervous system is what controls and coordinates every organ, every tissue, every cell in your body, every function, which there's literally thousands of functions that are going on right now as you're sitting there at work or at home, driving in your car, whatever it is that you're doing while you're listening to us. Think about how amazing that is, that your nervous system sends messages back and forth, taking care of everything that it needs to do. Millions of cells are being replaced, building new healthy cells, replacing your body in itself. And this is a fact. In less than a year's time, your body replaces itself completely. So, having a healthy nervous system, which is the blueprint of your body, will give you the opportunity to design yourself healthy. So it comes from within. Health really does come from within. And if you work with the system that keeps you in check and make sure that system is healthy, your nervous system, and that's what we do as chiropractors, then your body can adapt and react to everything that it needs to. And Dan, I'm going to ask you this question.
There's a point I'd like to get in.
Okay, sure.
Before we go on to that. As Dr. Carolyn said, every 11 and a half months, your body's totally replaced with new cells, 99.9%. Well, when you have subluxations, instead of your body building healthy tissue, normal tissue, you have nerve interferences to that area. So wherever that nerve's going, whatever organ, whatever muscle, whatever ligament, you have abnormal tissue replacing the normal tissue, kind of like a cavity. You can have a cavity, as everyone knows, you can have it for years, there's no symptoms. And as I've said on the program before, what usually happens when that subluxation is there long enough, there's enough abnormal tissue being reproduced till there's enough abnormal tissue where all you have to do is simply bend down to tie your shoe, reach back for a coffee cup, do something very, very simple, and then quote unquote your back goes out and the person's in severe pain. And again, it was not caused from the act of bending forward. The problem was set up for years of abnormal health and abnormal tissue growth.
Right, so all of a sudden then the body just can't handle it any longer, and it lets you know that something's manifesting that's not correct, and it will do that. Generally, your structure will be the first thing that's going to show you those signs and symptoms. And we talked about symptoms, we talked about pain, we talked about signs and things to look for to know whether or not you should have your spine checked. Well, let me tell you, if you are less than or more than, and you've been on this earth more than hours, then everyone should have their spine checked, because you're constantly adapting and reacting to the stresses of the environment that you're in. Your body internally has to constantly adapt and react, and on the outside, those stresses coming into the body has to adapt and react. So, first of all, I'm going to ask Dan, we're talking about how to adapt and react. We're talking about scoliosis and how it all starts generally when there's a stress to the nervous system, whether it be an emotional stress, a chemical stress, a physical stress. And one of the most important areas of the spine to make sure there are no subluxations, no misalignments, that everything's absolutely lined up and there's no stress to the brainstem. The most important area is that C1 and C2. Dan, do you remember what C2 is called?
Axis?
Correct. And it's called
Go,
the
Dan.
axis. Good job, Dan. And it's called the axis because it is the axis of the spine. So relating again to structural stresses in the spine and scoliosis and curvatures of the spine and abnormal wearing and degeneration of the spine, when the axis of the spine is not in optimal alignment, it causes the spine to continue to adapt and react improperly. So it abnormally wears and causes stress. So very good, Dan. C2 is called axis, C1 is called atlas. Very important area of the spine. Those two vertebrae can subluxate or move out of position 274 ways. So that's why it's very important. Many times when we do an x-ray and we do an analysis on someone's spine, we're going to look at that area because it's so important. So we do a AP open mouth view, which will show that atlas and that axis. And that way we can tell whether or not your brainstem, which is the computer, the main fuse of your body, is definitely functioning the way it should so that everything can function optimally from that point above, down, inside out. So that's what we do as chiropractors. It's about halfway through the show. It goes really quickly. So please, I know there's people out there because every week after the radio show, patients come in to the office, flood in the office and say, oh, I wanted to ask you this question, or they'll ask me questions in the office. And I know it's a live radio show.
No big deal, guys.
I know it's not.
Ask Patrick. It doesn't hurt.
Patrick loves to come, don't you, Patrick? Because
Yeah,
then you
Mom.
listen to yourself on the website afterwards, too, which you could also tune into, which is pretty neat. Wiry has that website.
And it can be located at www.wiry.com. You can listen to this show, you can listen to the most recent edition, and see an old photograph of me.
All right.
Yeah.
And the entire staff, our 8x10 glossies are all posted
We
there.
should put the new improved
I
Daniel
know, absolutely. Dan, you are looking so great. You've been under chiropractic care now from probably since early summer, I believe, Dan.
Yeah, just about that time.
And I'm very, very happy with the results that I'm seeing as your chiropractor, Dr. Joe and I both. And how about you, Dan? What do you think?
Feels really good. I guess the big thing I'm not really doing anything really drastic. I decided, well, I'm going to be part of a show all about health and wellness. So just as, I'd like to keep things really honest, and I decided to really go for that kind of lifestyle myself. Change of diet, more exercise, just, instead of going out and buying gumdrops, and I love my gumdrops, go out and buy an apple or, stuff like that. Just really simple health decisions that have really just combined to give me tremendous benefit here.
Great, Dan.
Patrick, what's your favorite little snack that you make? He's got a real classic snack I like him to share with the audience that he loves and he has it all the time. What's your recipe, Patrick?
Bananas, grapes, and almonds.
Why is that, honey? Why is that a good snack for you?
It's a balance of protein, fats, and carbohydrates.
Absolutely. And tastes good, huh?
Very good.
Does it give you good energy?
Yes.
And how do you use that energy? What are some of the things that you wanted to share with your friends and some of the other kids out there about staying active? What should you do to stay active? What are some of the things that you recommend?
Go running, fishing, hiking, sports.
Right. What about yoga? Do you do yoga?
Yes, it helps me ski race better.
That's right. Keeping everything in line and
We
stretched
got to remind
out.
our audience they better, the ski passes for Whiteface are still on deal. Now's the time. Right now, it's going to be the biggest change in Whiteface since probably the Olympics. They are cutting a new trail in, and it's going to open up the right side. For those of you who ski at Whiteface, it's going to open up the whole right valley side of the slides, and it's going to be all intermediate. There'll be some advanced expert skiing, but it's going to make Whiteface the number one place by far in the East to ski. One of the trails is going to be either the second or third longest in North America. So we got some great skiing here. And if you want to do a real fun family hobby in the winter, skiing's a blast. And it's so much different now than it was 20, 10, 20, 30 years ago. With the shaped skis, it's easy.
It's a
So
lot
if
of
someone's, it's not the work it used to be when the skis were about 50 feet long.
Right.
It is just so much fun. It's a great way to spend time outside. Since we've been skiing the last 15 years pretty heavy, I've never spent so much time outside. I feel like I'm a little kid in the wintertime.
Right. That's one of the things and why we're bringing that up. Patrick and I were talking about that this morning on the way getting ready for the radio show, right? About thinking ahead, that winter is a long season up here. Think about activities that you can do with your kids, with your family, that's going to promote being outside in the winter, right? Because
Ice fishing's a great one in the North Carolina. That's fun. Things
taking a
sports to get
walk in the
outside.
woods, taking a walk in the woods.
Snowshoeing's another great
Snowshoeing.
thing.
Yep, there's a lot of great things to do. Tobogganing, of course, you got to make sure you get checked after you go tobogganing or sleighing, right, for the bumps and the jumps. But that's okay, because if you have a healthy spine and the mechanics of the spine are healthy and everything's lined up, it won't stress out your nervous system. It'll help you to adapt and react to be stronger. So again, if there's any questions out there, please don't hesitate. Give us a call. It is live, but don't hesitate. Talk with us. We'd love to hear from you. 563-1340. But again, Patrick, eating healthy, exercising regularly, it's important. But what about kids getting checked? Should kids get their spines checked?
Yes.
Do you like getting your spine checked?
Yes.
Okay. Does it feel good when you get your spine checked?
Very good.
Is it gentle?
Yes.
Okay. And sometimes when we make corrections and make adjustments to the spine, there's a little sound that's made, right? And people get a misconception about that. That is not your bones cracking, folks, okay? There's fluid. The synovial fluid between the joints makes a sound and audible. It's just like taking an ice cube and putting it in hot water and it goes pop like that. It's just the physical change of the synovial fluid that makes that sound between the joints. And it's really very gentle. When you get your spine adjusted, we do not manipulate your spine. We find out exactly where those misalignments are, exactly how they're misaligned. We do that analysis when you come into our office. Postural analysis, we do a neurological analysis, a muscle check, range of motion, and we find out exactly where those misalignments are in the structure that are causing nerve interference, and then we make gentle adjustments to correct those. I can't tell you how many babies have been in my office just this last few weeks and that are newborns that have been, it's so exciting to check a newborn baby right after birth, to know that we're going to get a fresh start, a perfect start, and keep that baby adapting and reacting in a very positive way so that nervous system can adapt and react. Which brings me to Patrick. What is it called? What is the window to the nervous system?
Your eyes.
Your eyes. That's right. I bet there's a lot of people out there that would like maybe a little bit more of an explanation about that. So why we call the eyes as the window to your nervous system is because we talk about adapting and reacting to the environment. Well, your body has to adapt and react to the environment. And one of the ways that it does is when we're awake and we're looking around, your eyes have to perceive exactly what's going on to help you to know, okay, look out, jump if something gets in your way, or just knowing how to adapt and react with your muscles, or what the light and all the sensations around you. So that's one of the ways that your eyes will adapt and react and help your nervous system to adapt and react. So leading to that, what's one thing that mom and dad always say, not too much time with what?
TV and video games.
Right, because what happens is if children are just sitting, first of all, that's not real healthy for your spine, nor your nervous system. And in the meantime, if you're just focusing and your eyes are just focusing on a computer screen or or video games or the TV, it's very stressful to the nervous system. And what it does is it overloads that nervous system.
Just look at a child who has been playing video games and they stop. You get this kind of blank stare in their eyes. And then actually the coloration's not good after they play that for any extended time.
Right. It really puts a stress and overloads that nervous system, because not only is it tough on your eyes, but it's tough on your muscles and your joints. The speed of the game or the TV and the lights, all that is great, and there's a lot of positive things about it, but you want to keep it to a minimal. Computers are great, TV is great, and video games can be a lot of fun, I know, right, Patrick?
Yes.
But what do we generally tell you? How long?
20 minutes.
Yeah, that's enough, because then you want to get up, you want to move around, you want to start doing something fun for your body and getting fresh air, go outside and just let your body be healthy, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what else is going on with you this morning, Patrick? You doing all right?
Yes, Mom.
How about you, Dan? Everything going all right with you?
It's going really
Hopefully
nicely.
everybody's doing all right out there in the audience today. But some other things that we want to talk about. When you come into our office, I talked about spinal normal curves. Well, one of the things, as Dr. Joe recommended or talked about, is knowing that when you come into our office, we're going to do that spinal analysis, which includes many times x-rays. Obviously, if someone's coming in and they're pregnant, we're not going to do that. There's times when we don't. But in order to know and understand if you've got normal curves of the spine, how we're going to help your spine adapt and react better, we're going to do that analysis. And then what happens is many times we're going going to see some spinal degeneration going on in the spine.
Not only that, though, there's abnormalities that you pick up
Right.
on the on the X-rays. Like 8 to 9% of the population will have an extra lumbar or a minus lumbar vertebrae, and that can change the way that you need to do the correction. Also, on giving the patients the proper exercises when you have a problem like that. So there's other changes that we see, as Dr. Carolyn said. It's the only way to know if there's spinal degeneration, or another term that's called arthritis, which is really, it's kind of what it's called, but it's such an incorrect term. Because if you break arthritis down in Greek, it means inflammation of a joint. What they really mean when you have an arthritis in the spine is spinal degeneration.
Go ahead,
and we
Dan.
have a
pick
call
up
on
the call.
line 1 here. Hi, you're live with the doctors. Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
I go to the casino occasionally, and I notice the next day the back of my neck kind of bothers me. Would that have anything to do with it?
Yes, that's a good one. I hear that a lot from my patients who enjoy the casino. What happens is like people who play, they like to play for, let's say 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. What happens is they get in one position and they don't move. And their neck can lock up, and probably the excitement of winning, that would tighten your neck up too. But that's a good one. Yes. Same as when you have a computer at work. You want to change the position of that computer. You don't want to be just staring at the screen in one way.
Right, because then also it's the same thing. We were talking about the video games and the computers and the TV.
That's what made me think of it.
Right, absolutely. It causes a stress to the nervous system, and you're sitting there.
I detect a Boston accent. If that's not my dad, I'd be surprised. This is really funny. I want to share with the audience. My father has what they call a C2 subluxation, and I've come up with a way that my dad, he sits 45 degrees to the right, and when he looks at the screen, that relieves the pressure. I'm very proud of my father. He's 79 years old, and you'd never know it. Dad, you enjoy going up to the casino and having fun. Anyone who knows him, he's a great fisherman, a great hunter, and he's a great grandfather and a great father. So thanks.
Father-in-law, too.
Yeah, thanks for calling, Dad, but that will definitely do it.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to confirm my question.
All right.
There you go. Thanks for calling in. See ya, Gramps.
Now we do have another call also.
All right.
Hi, you're live with the doctors.
Hi. I have been diagnosed with 2 herniated discs in my neck
Okay.
and 1 in my spine.
Okay.
I have sciatica that has bothered me off and on for quite a few years. Yeah. I have an appointment with a surgeon for a consult in October.
Okay.
My feeling now, right at this moment, is I won't allow anybody to do anything that way. But it's very painful.
Right.
My right arm it's like shards of glass. That's what it feels like when it spasms.
Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both want to jump on.
Well, let me just ask you this.
Hey, how about me?
Obviously, what's your first name?
My first name is Nora.
Nora. Okay, Nora. When you have you had an MRI?
Yes.
Okay, so that's how you know whether or not the disc is herniated.
Yeah.
So obviously this isn't something that it just happened overnight. It's something you've been suffering with for some time.
Yes.
Okay. Have you tried anything conservative like chiropractic care?
Yes.
Okay. What I would recommend, though, upper cervical adjustments could really be very gentle and very specific to help take the stress off of those areas that have been degenerative. Okay. Obviously, it's not something that happens overnight to have that disc to become herniated or bulging like that. It's something that's happened over the course of some time. So I would definitely recommend giving it a try.
Come into the office, we'll take our x-rays and do our analysis, and we can really know within a day, well, not even a day, within a visit, whether we feel we can help. See, what happens is with spinal surgery, it was a study done in the New Yorker magazine, I believe it was 2 years ago, and it's pretty good. It's a very good magazine. What was really great about it is it's not a chiropractic magazine, it's not a medical magazine, it's a magazine. And their study came out that 91% of spinal surgeries are failures. Within a year, the pain is back as bad, if not worse.
Right.
And there's other studies that we have found, especially being upper cervical chiropractors, that over 80% of sciatica is not really caused by the lumbar spine. It's an effect of your neck. First is a subluxation in your neck, which causes pressure on the spinal cord, and that will cause the pain and burning in your legs.
Right, so like Dr. Joe was saying, many times what's happening with the stresses in the lumbar spine start with stresses in the cervical spine. So even though you have the situation of disc herniation in your neck and in your lower back, you know which two vertebrae we talked about is C1, C2.
And that's
the
what we're
brainstem.
experts in. That's
Right.
what we have over 500 postgraduate